Welcome to the February 12th edition of Contributor Experience. I would like to remind you all that we do have a code of conduct. Please be excellent to each other. If you have questions about the nitty-gritty on that, you can definitely find our code of conduct, and I'd encourage you to read it. At the end of the stand-up, there will be an opportunity for new contributors to introduce themselves, and we're just going to launch really quickly into our regular program updates. So let's start off with events. Office hours. George, do you want to talk to us about that?
Yep, we're all set for going next week. I'll be sending a reminder. The biggest change that I want to let the group know is we are trying the West Coast edition as well. We've got all new panelists and all that good stuff. So hoping to kind of energize the program there a little bit. So I'll report back how that goes.
Thank you. Could you also give us an update on the community meeting?
Yep, so Samuel Drama, he's on this call somewhere, is going to be the host for this week. We've gotten feedback from everybody. The only gotcha is Code of Conduct wants to go next month because there's a travel thing. So we're reaching out to steering to see if they'll switch spots. Yeah. Other than that, things are looking good. What do you think?
Yeah, an update to that, yes. Everybody confirmed, and everybody confirmed that they'll be there, other than with the multi-cluster auth and Windows, except the one seg that we are trying to replace from Code of Conduct to the steering. We are just waiting on that response. And other than that, yeah, I've been following up on the slides and everything, so we are on it.
Thank you so much for being willing to do that.
Community meeting is so low stress now. Thank you so much, everyone.
I think everyone likes the monthly cadence.
Contributor Summit, Chiefy, could you give us the latest on that?
He's not on the call, but the CFP closed. We are wrapping things up and should have the schedule posted early. I think we said it was going to be done this Friday, but we're going to, I think, push it to Monday. We'll have a blog post, the schedule and everything will sort of just all drop at the same time. Oh, and if you have not registered, please register.
And encourage your friends. Okay. Mentoring. Is Ihor on the line to talk about that? I see him on the call. Ihor, are you in a position to give us an update on that?
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yes, now we can hear you.
Perfect. I had some issues with my headphones, so switch back to the laptop mic. We have the Community Bridge program coming up. We have 8 students right now with all the CNCF projects, including 2 with Kubernetes, and they are on track. They've just recently passed their first evaluation. We also have a few submissions from the Kubernetes project for Google's Summer of Code. And we'll have the final confirmation from Google on if CNCF is accepted as a formal organization at Google Summer of Code this year, and how many slots we'll have, and how many, and after that we'll decide how many will we allocate. But as of now, we are good with Google Summer of Code and Community Bridge.
Great, thank you. Meet our contributors. Paris says there are no updates. Anything on Outreachy? Says going for another semester for the contributor site. And she's looking for ideas for projects. So that's coming up. Let her know if you have any ideas on that front. Dropping into community management, the need to know email for technical leads and chairs. There's no chair email this week as there are meetings. And announcements are just going to flow through there. the SIG chair technical lead community program formation. 16 people attended yesterday, and they're expecting 10 more tomorrow. We'll do 2 time zones until we get less than 10 on each. With the contributor survey, we're still working with the miner and cash firm, and we'll hear on Friday about next steps. Is there anybody from the APAC call that would like to do an update?
I don't see Nikita or Yang on the line.
Okay. Dropping down into marketing, there is still call out for 4 more people to help with that. If that tickles your fancy, that's in your interest. If you want to try being a marketer, or if you are a marketer, please join us. They're working on sending a vote to KDEV for the contributor Twitter handle, social media guidelines, social media tool research, internal comms plans, and programmatic strategies. And we also need to build out a PR team for Slack. And then in terms of getting a hold of that group, Jonas and the internal comms team is working on a standard form. And there's an issue out in PR label area contributor comms or Slack team. Josh, do you want to give a Slack audit requirement update?
I don't think he's on the line, but I think I was more so just looking for more comments on that.
Okay.
In general, I agree, like you can sort of catch up on the thread. Some of the tasks in there probably aren't relevant anymore, like pruning old users. I mean, we're like, I think 90,000 some odd users. There's no way we can like go back and do an audit on those reasonably. Same thing with sort of the unused channels. We don't have a good way of getting like good information on that. Like most of the archives that have been coming up have been like people that started the channel have like, hey, this project has closed, but we're just going to go ahead and close the Slack channel.
Okay. All right. Dropping into GitHub management. Christoph, do you want to give us an update here?
We have like a few ongoing things, like the move from incubator to SIGs that's kind of in its last leg, and some audit tasks that we've kind of ended up losing traction, and that's my fault because we didn't set up a recurring meeting. So I fixed that. We have a meeting that's going out, an invite that's already gone out, sorry, for the last Thursday of the month is going to be our kind of regular cadence. So that's on the ContribEx calendar, and we're going to use that to kind of better organize the ongoing work and hopefully get some traction on some of the cleanup and changing things that we want to do.
Great. So if you have interest in GitHub management, go check out that meeting then. Dropping into contributor docs. Bob, do you want to take this away?
Sure. So we're still working on revising the contributor guide. If people want to go through that and just start sprucing it up, that would be super awesome. That's one of the big things we want to surface on the contributor site. So this is mostly like going through and just like pretend you're a new contributor going through it for the first time. Does this make sense? Do the links still work? Things like that. Then going down to like the developer guide, that is sort of I would say the next like big thing, and just going through all that. There's a lot of stuff that's very much out of date. One thing I stumbled across over the weekend, I wouldn't mind like an act on this, is like we have the vagrant instructions in there that haven't worked supposedly since like 1.10. I don't know if anyone has like more history or background info on that, but I think it'd be safe to remove it just so that like people don't try and use it again.
Yeah. Does anybody have any other like thoughts on that? Yes. No?
I agree with it, if that makes sense. Yeah, +1.
Yeah, I'm fine with nuking that old documentation. It hasn't worked for probably even longer than 1.10. So
yeah, I'm not going to bother pointing a pointer or redirect in there or tombstone because it should just be gone. Other than that, like if like the developer guide is probably the next big thing is I think it's development.md that goes over the install instructions. There's a few things in there that might be out of date. And there's a couple open issues about updating some of the some stuff like sort of all over the place. A recent one was like changing, I think it was like hack/e2e.go to kubetest. It's there's several issues open about all that.
All right. Thanks for the update, Bob. Are there any new contributors on the call that would like to introduce themselves? Nope. Okay. Let's go ahead and drop into the open mic section. Bob, do you want to give us the dev stats update? Bob, I think you're muted.
There we go. There we go. Yeah, I gotta get a new setup because it's being funky with everything. I've had a problem like almost every Zoom call lately. So there's a couple things. They've added a new licensing dashboard. Dropped a link in chat, and there's a link in the agenda. No surprise, we're pretty much Apache across the board, except for some Creative Commons. I'm not so sure about the other ones. Those might be worth looking at. And then the next thing is we've had a long sort of outstanding task of sort of mapping repos to repo groups. This was a little bit difficult before, but let's see, Lucas, I think you're on the line. He added a dashboard so we can easily just go there and see what repos map where, and so it'll make it a lot more like easier to audit. I have a good chunk updated, but if anyone has any details on some of the ones that are not mapped, that would be super helpful. Put the link to the spreadsheet in the sheet or in the chat. And I'm thinking like we just turn this into sort of like a quarterly task of like go check that dashboard and see like are there any repos that don't belong to a repo group? Go ahead and if so create that mapping. I'll get or create a ticket to do that.
Do we care that much about Kubernetes -retired? Just curious. Because I see some of the empty ones are.
I think so, just for aggregating the stats right.
Okay, cool.
The other thing is like there's still the historics like SIGs, like SIG AWS. At this point, do we just want to roll those into cloud provider?
I would think so, Bob. I participate in the cloud provider meetings. So if there are specific repos, I can bring it to the meeting, which we have later today at I think 4 p.m. EST. But yeah, that's the effort going on to remove all individual cloud provider SIG references and whatnot, right? Just keep it everything under cloud provider.
Yeah.
So
I'm +1 too for the cloud provider move.
Yeah. Is there any, for this AWS specific repo, do you have any issue or something? I mean, we can get some comment from the AWS provider leaders there and, have them comment if they have anything.
No, there isn't really an open issue about it. It's just something I noticed when going through the list is that there was still a bunch of repo groups for like SIG AWS, SIG GCP. And the only real reason I could think of to keep those around would be for historical reasons. But at this point, that does make the stats for cloud provider seem funky as well. So I kind of lean towards just dumping everything in the cloud provider.
Gotcha. I mean, there's effort going on for the thing called in tree and out of tree kind of things. So, moving all this, sort of old repos to out of Kubernetes repos. So it might be sort of, removed as part of that move. But if not, I think, yeah, that changing them makes sense. Is that in the dashboard link you sent? Did you find it, Bob, or what's the best place?
The dashboard link lists. Actually, I don't know if I linked that one, but it lists the current repo groups. Let me pull up the agenda because I
Basically, all the ones that are listed as other.
Under the other, yeah.
Yeah. Those are the ones that we want to go through and map to, certain SIGs and things like that.
Okay, because I was just searching there. I didn't see any AWS reference in particular.
So if you select from the drop-down the repository groups, you can then see like the different SIGs that they have in there. So like SIG Azure, SIG AWS.
Oh, yeah, I see. Okay, okay.
So those are the ones that we want to sort of aggregate to cloud provider.
Yeah, that definitely makes sense. Yeah.
It's the other and not specified ones.
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
Like just like SIG AWS as an organization doesn't exist anymore. So like and everything from SIG AWS has moved under cloud provider. So yeah, just ditch it.
Agree. Yeah. And so is the SIG Azure and others like SIG GCP as you mentioned, Bob, IBM Cloud. Thing. Yeah, all of them. Yeah. I think that's something Lucas will be doing, I guess, because that's part of it's not within the.
Yeah, I'll just give an Akin the issue about it, about just cleaning up the repo groups and everything regarding just dumping them all into a cloud provider.
Yeah.
And then,
sense.
That was pretty much it.
Okay. Does anybody have anything else that they would like to talk about in the open mic session? Nope. Okay then. I'll give you back more time in your day then. Thank you, everybody.
Hey, Elsie, are you actually at that place, or is that one of those green screen backgrounds? You're in a really cool place right now.
Sorry, I missed that. What was that?
Are you actually at that place, or do you have a green screen background on your Zoom? Because you look like you're like in a science fiction movie or something.
I'm actually here.
Oh,
Some of you might not know, I actually got a new job at Square. So this is the Square cafeteria.
Oh, congrats.
Oh, cool.
Thank you.
Well, hey, we didn't see your tweet on that, no?
You might work at Square, but that place is not Square.
Sorry.
But okay, I'll see myself out. Thanks, everybody.
All right. See you, everyone.
Cheers, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Cheers.
Later.